You're listening to We Are Grant County, brought to you by Toe Talk Media, where local stories come to life through podcasts, magazines, and videos. Take a moment to follow us on Facebook or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us keep sharing the voices that make Grant County shine. From hands-on learning and leadership opportunities to camps, clubs, and community projects, 4-H has been helping young people find their spark for over a century. Today, we'll talk about how those programs are empowering the next generation of leaders right here in Grant County, how families can get involved, and what's ahead for the 4-H community. Welcome to We Are Grant County, the podcast where we highlight the people, programs, and passions shaping our community. We're your hosts, Michelle and Katie, and today we're diving into the topic that's all about growth, not just in the fields and gardens, but in the lives of our youth. We're joined with Mason from the University of Kentucky's Grant County 4-H Extension Office. Mason, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name is Mason Malin. I am the Grant County 4-H agent with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. I'm almost to a year here. I started last October, so we're coming up on my 1 year, and it's been a really fun ride so far. And like I said, I'm really glad to be here doing the podcast with you all.
And we're glad to have you. I mean, I do the I don't even know what I do. Listen, I'm the leader of the photography 4-H classes. But, just in doing that over the last year, I've learned so much more about 4-H that I've never even known. Because I know 4-H has been around for years, but I was never part of it growing up. Mm-hmm. So now I'm getting to see all these things that are out there for the youth in the county.
And however, I actually went to a 4-H camp when I was young, when I lived in Indiana, and that because I was in Girl Scouts, but I had never heard about 4-H until I guess someone promoted it at the school. And I remember doing leather working, and I have a really cool keychain so that was, let's just say, in the 90s era of 4-H.
So you mentioned that you've been in this role for almost a year now. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey into becoming an agent for 4-H?
So I grew up in 4-H. I was involved in shooting sports and stuff since I was 9 years old. I'm from Bourbon County, so they had a really big 4-H program there. I never really thought that being a 4-H agent was really what I wanted to do. It was always there, but I never really took it super serious as my career choice. I went to the University of the Ozarks and got my degree in environmental studies, and got out of college, was working in some environmental consulting jobs and stuff. And throughout since 2022, when I graduated college, my now fiance, after we got together, she was always like, "Hey, are you an extension agent?" Or well, that was when we first got together. But then ever since, it was like, "Hey, you should go do this. You'd be really good at this." And so I was at a point in my old career path that I was really looking for something else, and this job came up, and she nudged me again. It's like, "Hey, you need to go do this, or at least give it a shot." So
it sounds like a little more than nudging. A very strong suggestion, maybe.
She is very good at going with knowing what her gut says, and it's like usually if her gut says to do something, that it's pretty accurate. So I kind of took a leap of faith with her support, and it's worked out really well. It's felt like coming home because, of course, a lot of the other 4-H agents across the state, I grew up around them. So it's nice to work with the people I'm comfortable around and the other people that I know. So it's been probably the best decision I've made in a really long time.
That's so awesome.
So you mentioned you were from Bourbon County originally. So
Yes.
did you move to Grant to take this role?
So me and my fiance, we both live in Georgetown now.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up in Bourbon County, and so moving to Georgetown wasn't too big of a jump.
So what are your primary responsibilities in this role?
So my main responsibilities here is kind of overseeing all of our clubs, all of the activities that go on, being a kind of the point of contact for all of our volunteers and our club leaders and everybody else that really are the ones who make this program run. Because although, yes, I'm the agent, I fill out all the paperwork and stuff, but without the volunteers and the club leaders, we wouldn't have a program, because I can only do so much. My program assistant, Haley, she can only do so much. So it's really the club leaders and the volunteers that really help us get everything done. So I'm just kind of the point of contact for them, making sure they have what they need, kind of coordinating, like when we go have state level events that go on, making sure all that gets advertised and everybody kind of knows what's going on.
Now we're talking like 4-H, but how is 4-H connected to UK?
So it's kind of all 120 counties in Kentucky have a cooperative extension service, which also means they have a 4-H agent and a 4-H program of some kind. So that's where UK is a land grant university. They're the ones that have the cooperative extension service. So, which means that there's our ag and natural resources, our family consumer sciences, and our 4-H programs.
Okay. What are the biggest needs and challenges that you see for the youth's development in this Grant County area?
I think just coming into this job and kind of taking the last year to see kind of where the program was at and where we want to take it. We just want to make sure that we're providing a lot of opportunities for growth, a lot of leadership opportunities, and kind of even implementing club officers and providing the opportunities to go to some of the state level leadership conferences, different education opportunities, and just making sure that we provide the opportunities that will allow any of the youth in Grant County that are 4-H members to be like, hey, this is something I'm interested in, kind of see what their spark may be. And you never know where that may take them. Because for me, I grew up in shooting sports, and throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, I kind of got to the point where I knew that I really wanted to go shoot in college and shoot on the collegiate level. And it all started because of my involvement in 4-H. So that was a dream of mine that came out of being involved in 4-H shooting sports.
And that's definitely not an avenue to college sports that you would not normally hear about.
Right. Of course, everybody thinks of football, basketball, soccer, your normal sports, but I was never a normal sports kid. I was never much on the team sports and stuff, but I found my passion in shooting sports, and I still compete in it to this day and still enjoy the sport. But that's part of the reason that I kind of started feeling more at home being a 4-H agent, was because now I get the opportunity to help other kids find what they're passionate about, whether it's photography or shooting sports or livestock, or even our dog and horse clubs are really, really growing. And just being able to provide all those extra opportunities for some kid who may not have the resources to do that on their own, to come in and say, hey, I'm really interested in this. Okay, how can I help you get to where you want to be?
Mm-hmm. And I know that every time that I've talked to you about the photography class, you're always like, let's try it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I have a very firm believer in the worst anybody can ever do is tell me no.
Yeah.
But I'm more than likely going to do all I can to try and make something happen. If it fails, it fails, but at least we tried it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you feel right now 4-H is positioned in the county, like as far as awareness goes and participation, community support?
I definitely think, even all across Kentucky, but even here, 4-H and the extension program all of the extension as a whole is it's always the best kept secret everywhere. So trying to figure out, okay, how do we turn that into the best kept secret to, okay, this is the best thing here. Mm-hmm. But
promotion
right,
can be very difficult.
Promotion is very difficult, but also the thing with the 4-H programs is we have to compete with all of the extracurricular activities at the schools and everything like that. So it's more of like, okay, how do I prove that the 4-H activities are beneficial and well worth somebody spending their time? Because most of our stuff is in the evenings, or we don't do a lot during the day because, of course, all of our clientele, they're at school. Yep. So competing with that after school time can be pretty difficult. But hopefully just working into some different different schedules and stuff like that, hopefully just pushing it out there more and more and showing that, hey, these are the opportunities we have. This is what we're trying to do. This is where we want to go, and see who wants to come and get on board. It seems like you're really looking into adapting to the current climate and what those kids can actually, meeting their needs, but also finding the times that they can. Right. Because over like this last year, we had a lot of our livestock club meetings at like 5 or 5:30. And I learned really quick that you can't do it that early. Like that time didn't work for a lot of people to get here. Yep. And get here on time for those meetings. So now we're moving everything to 6 o'clock. So just trying to work with everybody's schedules, and hopefully it all works out. Yep. That's what I learned when I first started doing the photography. Was I wanted to do it 6 to 8, which is what I normally do with my photography classes, are 2 hours. But now I'm dealing with a younger group, and they're after school, but yet they have school the next day. So, it's 6 to 7 now. And if they want to stay a little later, we can, and we'll do that. But, right. I had to kind of like learn who I was working with. Mm-hmm. And of course you got transportation and parents and things like that. So busy lives, competing in the busy lives of our youth. Anything now, it's competing for everybody's time. But that's why I always try and make a point to be like, hey, this is why this is important. So it just kind of showing that although, yes, there's a lot of other things those kids can be involved in, but showing that we really want them to be involved here and actually what they're going to get out of it. It's worth the time and worth that participation. Yes. Nice. And just kind of like to piggyback on that, they can be involved in more than one 4-H program. Yes. So they can be we have, I think, around 10 clubs right now that are fairly active. They can be involved in all 10 of them if it works in their schedule and if they really want to be. All right. So you've already kind of touched on like what programs there are. Which ones tend to draw the highest participation? I think as far as highest participation here lately, Livestock Club is definitely one of the big ones. Horse Club, Dog Club, our Cooking Club has had quite a few people in the past. Sadly, we don't have a Cooking Club leader at the moment. Erica Payne worked really hard in that area, but she had stepped down for some other commitments she had. So currently, we're looking for a Cooking Club leader, but that program has had a lot of activity in the past. But also, some of our other clubs are showing to be gaining some more members this year, and we're hoping to see all of our clubs continue to grow as the year goes on and as we get farther into this program year. What about some events? Because I know that you're sharing some stuff for leaders that they can go to right now. Do you want to touch on that a little bit? Some kind of like programs or classes that they can attend? So one of the big things that comes up every 2 years is the Kentucky Volunteer Forum. And primarily, yes, that is for our 4-H volunteers and our club leaders, but it's also for our parents and 4-H members to attend. There's a lot of different workshops at the Volunteer Forum. There's a lot of opportunities just to kind of network with other 4-H volunteers and families and members and everybody involved to kind of get ideas and bring those ideas back to our program and use those to continue to grow and push things in the direction that we want it to go and continue improving on what we've got going on already. So the volunteer forum for anybody that does want or it may be interested, it's February 26th through the 28th in Lexington at the Central Bank Convention Center there downtown. And if anybody is a 4-H, Grant County 4-H volunteer or a member or a family member of a 4-H member, if they're interested, just have them get a hold of me through getting a hold of the Grant County Extension office, and I can get anybody that information or give them more information if they're interested.
Okay. It does sound interesting. That's not like when I saw the flyer, I didn't get all that from it. So thank you for explaining that a little bit more for me. So what I know that 4-H, and we'll kind of get back to programs in a minute, but there's also like a 4-H camp. And we've talked about it with the Homemakers podcast that we did with them. And like they have a scholarship that they give somebody so that they can go. What exactly is 4-H camp?
So 4-H camp is open to any youth 9 through 14, and we spend a week at North Central 4-H camp in Carlisle, Kentucky. And while there's different classes they can choose from, different workshops, and it allows them the opportunity to end up like, they get to go to camp with kids that are their age from Grant County, but we also camp with Pendleton County, Kenton County, and Owen County. So it allows them the opportunity to kind of get to know people from other areas, get to make friends on that level, and just get to experience a lot of stuff that they may not have the opportunity to experience at home. And it allows them the opportunity to get out and grow and learn new things and just honestly have a really good time and experience some of the 4-H camp magic that is there. And I was never a camper as I was growing up in 4-H, but I started going when I was 16 as a junior counselor. And even being a junior counselor, and I was an adult counselor a couple times, that is also really beneficial for anybody who may be like, hey, I want to burn a week of vacation or want to do something on that level to help out the kids in the community. That's also another really awesome opportunity that we always need volunteers for, because to see those kids when they show up, some of them are real timid and real shy and don't really want to get out of their shell. But by about Wednesday of that week, they're starting to come out a little bit and kind of going off and finding their own friend group and making those connections. And then by the end of the week, they're the ones kicking and screaming because they don't want to go home. They don't want to leave because they've learned so many new things and they've had so much fun. So it's awesome getting to see that side of it too.
Yeah. Camp in general can just be fun. I mean, as a kid, I don't know if everybody's experience is like that, but like even in Kentucky, there's different programs. Like, I remember going to conservation camp and things like that. There's a lot of outdoor activities. Yeah.
And not even outside of just 4-H camps, like you said, as a kid, I did go to conservation camp one year and I was in Boy Scouts. And so I went to Boy Scout camp all my life. But just those opportunities to get, the big thing that I find is really beneficial is just the opportunity to meet kids from other places. You kind of get put into the situation where you may not be used to the way somebody does something, or you may start out the week being like, man, I don't know, like that just seems odd. But then by the end of the week, as you get to know those people, you kind of you start to learn more about how people operate and what makes everybody unique, and still being able to make friends with those people that, even though at the beginning of the week they're like, oh, I don't know if I like them or not.
Hanging out with just your group and maybe extending and meeting new people. That's awesome. That's an awesome experience for kids that age.
Yeah, it's really important, especially I feel like especially now and after the whole debacle with COVID and everything getting shut down several years ago, it's extremely important for those kids to have those opportunities to get out and meet people and everything else, and to socialize
and learn, really.
Develop all of those soft skills that they may not be able to develop anywhere else.
Hidden behind a phone, right?
Yes.
Or a screen, getting out there, forcing. Is there a ban on cell phones at 4-H camp?
There is.
I was wondering.
So you've mentioned a couple times, like volunteers. Mm-hmm. So you have volunteers and you have, club leaders that are volunteers as well. I guess two different titles, but kind of the same thing in my eyes. But is there a difference, or how do you attract volunteers, or do people even know you need help or volunteers?
I'd say a lot of times the need for volunteers just kind of varies. One, depending on if we're putting on a big event or something like that. But of course, our club leaders are all volunteers. They're all volunteers, and they're all extremely important. Our club leaders they're the people that, if we've had a vacancy, or like when Michelle, when you had taken over our photography club, the old photography club leaders had stepped away, and so we needed someone else to take on that role. And you graciously stepped up into that position, and we really appreciate that. But even as far as just volunteers with other things, one of the big places that we can always use more volunteers and just more people and in the program is our 4-H council, which is kind of the advisory council to me and the program, and we all just kind of work together to make sure that all the needs are met, and that we're not taking the program in a direction that it doesn't need to go, and that everybody who's on the 4-H council, they're all volunteers. They all choose to come and spend time at those meetings and put their input in, and it's a really important role to fill. And anybody that has a child that's in 4-H is highly encouraged to come to those meetings. All of our club leaders are encouraged to come to those meetings. So we like everybody's input, and we want everybody to kind of know what's going on. So that's definitely probably the biggest way we can always use volunteers, and always in need of new people to come into those areas.
So what is that group? I guess help me understand what that group is, or who it is made up of.
So most of our 4-H council a lot of the people on there are either parents of 4-H members. Some of our club leaders are on it. Anybody is welcome to show up to our 4-H council meetings, and those meetings are normally the first Thursday of every month around 7:00 here at the Extension office. But then, of course, as you come to more meetings, then that opens you up to actually be eligible to be a council member per their bylaws. But they're open to anybody who wants to come and sit in and see what's going on, and just kind of see and listen to what the conversations and the planning that goes on in those meetings.
So this could be, you say it's made up of a lot of family members of current. Do you see any former campers or members of 4-H continuing on?
Some of our 4-H council members have been 4-H members in the past, and some of our club leaders have been former 4-H members in Grant County's program or other counties' programs. So it's a big mix. There's some people on the 4-H council who were never involved in 4-H until their kids got involved,
right?
Which is how a lot of parents get into helping out. But
roping them in. Like I bet that's your best advertisement.
Yeah,
get them while they're young, and then they bring along the adults, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But no, that's probably that's one of the big driving forces to our program is the 4-H council, and they do an amazing job at keeping everything in line and saying, hey, let's try this, or we want to see this, or even if there's some stuff that they see from other counties that come up, they're like, hey, what if we do this? And then I take those ideas and we see where we can fit them in. And like I said before, I'll always give something a shot. If anybody ever has ideas or anything that they want to see done, come talk to me. We'll hash it out and see if we can do it. If we can't, then that's okay. But more than likely, there's some avenue to make it happen.
Sounds like a lot of opportunity to kind of steer and guide, you know what I mean? If you're interested in, you know, that kind of thing and helping out.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really good opportunity to kind of, you know, collaborate with, you know, your community.
Absolutely. It's the community involvement is extremely important to our organization.
So you have the group for adults, basically. Do you have a program for the older 4-H youth?
So for our older 4-H kids, especially like our high school age kids, late middle school, one of the big programs for them is our 4-H Teen Council, which is similar to our main 4-H council, as they come in, learn a lot of leadership skills and go to some leadership conferences. And we're actually getting ready. The first meeting for that is on Wednesday, so we're still getting ready and getting that kicked off for the year. But a lot of those teen council kids some of them show up to our 4-H council meetings, and they put in input, and so we really. I really like to focus on our teen involvement, whether it is in 4-H council or getting them involved in different leadership conferences across the state, or there's some regional, national level 4-H conferences that we go to, and just a lot of different networking events, and even just helping them develop and find the skill set for them to become good leaders, and kind of what it actually means to be a good leader, and being able to allow them to work in some positions as club officers and stuff like that, to really kind of hone those skills or help them see, like, hey, maybe I was the club treasurer for this club. Hey, I'm really interested in accounting.
Right.
You know,
developing those life skills that, you know, it affects much more than just right.
And that's always the big focus, I think, of any 4-H program, and especially the way that I envision things hopefully developing into here is being able to put kids in those positions to where maybe they're like, hey, I'm really interested in accounting, or hopefully doing a project where they're doing some woodworking stuff, or even an electricity project to go into the county fair, something to really pique their interest and say, hey, that's what I'm interested in. That's what I really want to do.
Right. Maybe expanding beyond just, because, like, I'm not saying it's a stigma, but if you think about 4-H, especially in a county like this where it's very country or very farm oriented, knowing that there's other types of programs and experiences for all types of kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about several clubs and volunteers and several things involved with 4-H, but we're also in a brand new building.
Right.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So where does funding come from to have the 4-H program continue? Like, is there fundraising? Is it grant money? Or like, where does that come from?
It's kind of split. Of course, our 4-H council, they provide quite a bit of funding for a lot of the clubs and some of the big events, like some of the stuff with the fair and some of those events that we put on. But then also our Extension District Board provides a lot of funding for some more of the kind of the general program operation stuff, or the program support and stuff like that. So we're extremely lucky to have a district board that helps us with just about anything. I can go propose something to them, and more than likely they say, well, let's figure out how to do it. We're extremely lucky on that end.
And one thing we've not touched on yet, because you talked about like community involvement and how to get people engaged. You also have I don't know what the title would be, maybe like a coordinator, but they go to the local schools and like do after school projects. So we try and get into some of the elementary schools and stuff and do some after school programs, or even some during the day programs. And a lot of that is
myself, Haley Cooper, our program assistant, and we go in if the schools reach out to us and say, hey, we really would like the 4-H staff to come in and lead some after-school lessons or just some activities. We would go in and do that. Lamar Fowler does a lot of after-school programs at the elementary schools and stuff too, and he does a phenomenal job. So he kind of helps. He kind of helps me out on a lot of that because he's been around and done that for a long time. So having him, and he goes and he does some crime scene investigation workshops, some different stuff like that. That's really, really cool. But that's kind of, right now, we're trying to get back into the schools a little more than we have in the past. Of course, with my schedule and our program assistant schedule, sometimes it's not as easy as we'd like it to be, but we still try and make the time to get in there and really help especially our 4th and 5th grade students kind of learn what 4-H is and
expose them to that
exactly,
kind of experiences.
Because that's the best advertising we ever have.
Say recruitment.
That's the best advertising we ever have is just getting in and getting to interact with those kids and showing them, hey, this is what we do, this is what we offer, and this is where this program can take you.
I think our son may have even participated in one of those after-school programs without us even knowing specifically, although he doesn't, share information very well. I would say he's not your best advertiser, but he's definitely benefited from some of the programs.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Now, I know I wasn't going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot just for a second. Are you able to tell us what programs you do have out there? Like if somebody was listening and they wanted to be part of that program or be in that group, are you able to kind of list them out?
I can probably list most of them. I was going through, of course, I was like,
I didn't want to do it to you.
Earlier.
Where's your flashcards? All right, pull those out.
If you forget one, we won't hold it against you.
Well, if I do forget one, anybody can always email me or check out the Grant County Extension office and the 4-H website.
That's probably
sure.
the easiest way. But yeah, let's list them.
But no, we have our Clover Buds program, which is for any youth 5 to 8 years old. That's kind of our introduction to 4-H. Kind of get them, show them, hey, this is kind of what 4-H is. They get little tidbits of some of the clubs and kind of it showcases to them some of the stuff they can do, but they also they do a lot of other fun activities. Like tonight at our Clover Buds meeting, we're doing a soils lesson, going through and making a soil dessert parfait, as you will. So with Oreos is the bottom layer. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, the whole thing. They're gonna get hopped up on sugar. But
I might be too old, but it does sound good.
I've
need a volunteer tonight.
I'm always appreciative of volunteers for that. But so of course our Clover Buds is getting ready to start up, and our first meeting for that is tonight. And then we have our Country Ham project, which is a statewide 4-H project where kids come in and they learn all the steps of the traditional ways to cure a salt-cured country ham. A part of that project is they have to give a speech. There's a speech component to that. So they'll give their speech during the county fair. We have a little county contest, but then the big one is they have a state country ham speech contest, which is held at State Fair every year. So they get to go to State Fair for the day, and but they also have to give their speech. But that's a really cool program because you get to learn the art of how everybody used to salt cure meats and preserve them. But then it also really helps you with your public speaking abilities. So
you sneak in some learning in there, huh?
Yes, absolutely. It's all about learning.
You come for the meat, and then you learn how to.
All about learning. Adding in the soft skills on the side. We'll draw you in with learning how to cure the country hams, but you'll come out learning how to give a speech and how to present and stuff like that. And then, like I said before, we have had a really strong cooking club, but of course currently we don't have a club leader to head that up. So that one is kind of on hold for this year until we can find someone to come back in and take that over. And then we've got our dog club, which is led by Elizabeth Kamick. She's come in and done a phenomenal job. We actually started back up the Grant County Fair 4-H Dog Show last year. That was really awesome. They came in, did a wonderful job there. Then Katie Petrafke is our horse club leader. And so our horse club is kind of anybody who's interested in horses, wants to come in and learn about some different stuff there. They can come to the horse club meetings and learn anything from caring for their horses or just anything educational wise on the horse side of things. They can come in and learn that. That one is for anybody who does not own, like, even if you don't own a horse, but you still want to come in, you're interested in it, come to the horse club meetings. Now, they are going to start having a riding group for anybody who does have their own horses and kind of organizing some trail rides and some different stuff there. But yeah, the horse club is for anybody and everybody, whether you have a horse or not. But they are going to start a riding group for those that do have horses and want to kind of learn a little more on that aspect of things.
That might actually be beneficial for parents who are, being begged by their young ones about, they want the pony for Christmas, They can maybe show them some of the hard work aspects before they actually commit to a very expensive hobby.
Right. Absolutely. And then we have our livestock club, again, kind of teaching anything and everything from raising and producing livestock all the way through the whole world of showing and exhibiting livestock. So they get the whole 9 yards there. And that one is for anybody interested in raising and showing meat or dairy goats, beef or dairy cattle, sheep or hogs. So the livestock club that's a really cool program. I showed market goats for a little bit as a kid, but I learned a lot from that, and all of our leaders for that they do a phenomenal job there too. What else do we have? There's several. Of course, our photography club, which Michelle has headed up.
I think she just wanted you to talk more about the photography club. Don't lie.
I can let Michelle is doing a lot of really cool stuff with that. And when we get done with this list, if she does want to include some of that, she's more than welcome to, because they're doing a lot of stuff and getting a lot of hands-on learning there. I know I'm missing a few. I know we have had a horticulture club here in the past. Again, that's another one that our club leader had stepped down, had some other time commitments and stuff. But so we're not going to. We will, if we ever get a club leader for that, we'll start the horticulture club back up again, and then.
Your shooting sports.
Yeah, I was going to hit on. I can't forget that.
You'd get in trouble for that.
I would. Everybody would be like, "How did you forget that?"
That thing that you do.
Yeah, but no. So our shooting sports program, we have Brad and Amber Gaskell, along with some of their other coaches. They do a really great job with that. Right now, we offer archery and rifle through the shooting sports program. We're hoping, as we get into this year, to hopefully offer trap shooting, which is the sport that I grew up in. But that one's really cool, because especially now there's everything going on, and so it's really cool to be able to come in with kids and teach them firearm safety. And
that's got to be crucial. I mean, just a knowing about. Sorry, I cut you off.
But. No, you're totally fine. But definitely just teaching them about firearm safety and just how to be responsible with that stuff, but also showing them that there's there's a competition, there's a competitive aspect, and there's a whole realm of sports out there that, and in the shooting sports world, whether it's trap, archery disciplines, rifle, there's so many different avenues there that anymore most people are probably a little scared of, but it's showing them that, hey, this isn't a scary thing. This is something that you can do whether you're 8 years old, and you can do it all the way until you're 95. I was at a shoot several years ago when I was on a squad shooting the Kentucky State trap shoot with a gentleman who was 94 years old.
Wow.
So
that's commitment there.
Yes. So it's one of those things that's a realm that anybody can do, whether even those who may have some physical disabilities and stuff like that, they are just as competitive as those who don't have those same disabilities. But it's a realm that, like I said, anybody can do. It's for anybody from any walk of life. Anybody can come and learn how to do it. And to me, it's a really important one to get people into, and just to show them, hey, this is an avenue that's there, especially because there's so many college opportunities now in the shooting sports world. There's so many schools that offer scholarships for their archery teams, rifle teams, shotgun teams, whatever it may be. We actually just had a young man, Cody Fightmaster. He got a scholarship to Midway University to shoot on their archery team. So there's a lot of really cool opportunities there, and we're trying to grow our shooting sports program and get more people involved with it.
To just highlight, various, like you said, your own experience, right? Not necessarily the same kind of sports, but maybe those kids that don't have that same kind of athletic drive have participation in something different.
I was the kid trying to play youth soccer that I literally stood in the middle of the field and watched everybody else run both ways. I'm
as a
this
coach,
isn't for me.
As a coach, I've had a few of those over the years.
I would have been one of them, and I'm like, it wasn't for me. But as soon as I got involved in shooting sports and stuff, I fell in love with it. That was where I was meant to be. So
that's awesome.
Like it all circles back to in that, whether it's shooting sports or any of our other clubs, to get people involved in what they're interested in and finding what they're interested in. I know I've missed some other of our clubs here.
The only one that I can think of right now is RC Club.
Yes, that was getting to that one. That was on the tip of my tongue.
I think that's one of the ones our son has been super excited.
That is probably one of our most asked about clubs, is the RC Club, because there's not very many 4-H programs across the state that do have someone who knows enough about the RC cars and to run a club like that. So John Coleman does a really great job with it. He comes in, and whether the kids have their own RC cars or not, he can help them get started. They build all kinds of obstacle courses. Their first meeting, they were drag racing out here on to the entrance of the fairgrounds on that road. They set up some little drag racing tournaments, and they were going to town there. And so it's always really fun to see the kids, because that's one that the parents really like to get involved in and all that too. So it makes it fun for the whole family there.
Yeah, you think some adults are reliving some of their youthful fantasies?
Oh, absolutely.
I have a reason to buy RC cars.
Absolutely. I was over at, I was getting some stuff from John one day, and over at his house and his little shop area that he's got, and he's got a whole collection of RC cars. So he is definitely the man to run that club and to do it the way it's supposed to be done there. But yeah, I know I left some off, I'm sure, but we have an amazing plethora of clubs and activities and stuff for kids to get involved in, no matter what they're interested in. And I always tell people, because parents come up and ask, oh, well, do you have this, or what all do you have? I say, well, if I don't have something in the 4-H program that you want to see, then let me know, and we'll see.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. We'll get you in. We'll get you in as a volunteer, and
What do you want to do for us?
Exactly. Well, if there's something we don't offer but you want to see it, then and if you're willing to lead it and be a volunteer, then we can definitely make it happen. So like I said, it all runs off of our volunteers, and if it wasn't for them, we couldn't do what we do.
Because you had mentioned parents kind of like with the RC club, like they're kind of like in there playing too. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that with the photography club.
There's a couple parents that get really into it, isn't there?
You know, they make sure that their kid is doing what the instruction is, but then they're also like asking me questions or talking with their kid about it, or like they're doing it one-on-one with their kid.
Right.
Or they're pulling out their smartphone and trying to do the exact same thing.
Right. And that's always the fun part about any 4-H program. And it's always fun to for the parents to get involved too. So that's one thing. Whenever like we have our club meetings and stuff, we really, really encourage the parents to stick around if at all possible. I know some parents may have some other obligations and they have to run and they'll pick their kid back up at the end of the meeting or whatever. But we always encourage parents to stick around, because that's how the parents they get excited about it. They kind of get bought into it. And that's how we end up with a lot of our volunteers, is through the parents, but it gives them that opportunity to really connect with what their kids are doing. And it may even be something, maybe the kid got into it because their parents were interested in it, or vice versa. The kids get really interested in it. The parents may know nothing about it, but then they get really, really involved.
And then it's like another chance to bond with your kid outside of a screen.
Right. You know? I mean, growing up in shooting sports and stuff, my parents had a little inkling about it. They knew a little bit about it, but I got into it. I got really involved in it, and they saw that I was committed to it, and that's what I wanted to do. So they were showing up with me to practices, and then they started helping out. And down the road, my parents ended up being kind of the club leaders for Bourbon County's 4-H shooting sports program for a while. And that was just all because it was what I was interested in. And that's what we see with a lot of our parents and a lot of our volunteers, is it's all started because they got into it because their kids wanted to do it, and then they fell in love with it too.
That's cool.
That's kind of what, because I'm not much of a runner, never have been, but my son likes to run. So I see running in our future.
Unless he's on the soccer field. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He needs a track. No, I'm just kidding. But there's a space for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Mason. This was... again, just like I've said with every podcast that we've done so far, it's just eye-opening. I enjoy listening and learning about the things that I don't know much about, or maybe I thought I knew a good bit, but then I learned that I didn't know as much as I did.
Right.
But, since I've been involved with 4-H for the last year or so, there's just been so many things that I didn't know, and that I just keep learning. Like every day, there just seems to be something new.
Oh yeah.
So,
and it's like, and it goes a lot deeper than just what everybody sees on the surface of, okay, it's a meeting at the extension office, it's this club, it's whatever they're involved in on the surface. But really, by the time those kids, especially if they start out, whether they start out when they're 9 or at 5 years old as a clover bud, or even if they start when they're 16 and may only have 2 years in the program, there's so many life skills and the really important social skills and all of that really will help them once they graduate high school, go off and to whatever career path they may choose. I mean, there's so much that I got out of 4-H as a kid that I definitely wouldn't be in the job I have now, but I wouldn't have gotten a lot of the opportunities even outside of 4-H that I've gotten, because if I wasn't involved in 4-H. So it's really beneficial, whether it's just finding something you're involved in, or even just the other soft skills that they learn while they're involved in the program.
Yeah, just those learning opportunities you mentioned I think we're all looking for that kind of thing. And we want that, like you said, during COVID, just missing out on some of those vital interactional skills, learning, making sure those kids know how to talk to each other and know how to meet each other. Again, through something besides a screen.
Right.
I mean, you know.
And I saw a lot of that when I just photographed a few events at the fair where they're showing their animals and things like that. And then the Sale of Champions, just to kind of see, you can see what that individual has done with that animal for, you know, working with it so long. And then you get to see their pride. You get to see kind of like, now I didn't get to see their entire growth because I didn't see them from the very beginning.
Right.
But you can kind of see, you can imagine where they began and you see where they're ending and everything that has gone up to that point just to get them there.
Commitment, it sounds like.
Oh, it's definitely a commitment.
It's definitely, no matter whether it's livestock or whether it's shooting sports practices or even just the dog club kids who are preparing for that dog show at the county fair. There's so many things like that that really teaches them. One, it allows them to notice, hey, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I enjoy doing. But it builds that work ethic. It builds it helps them become responsible.
Yeah.
There's so many different responsibilities in all of it, and keeping track of a schedule, keeping track of their calendar, whether it's club meeting dates, whether it's the livestock kids going to different county fairs. Hey, what livestock shows coming up? What do I need to do to get ready for that? Or if it's, hey, I've got 2 weeks until the state shooting sports tournament. I've got to continue. I've got to put practices on my schedule outside of what we have as 4-H practices. Hey, I need to do this. So there's so many things that go way deeper than just what a lot of the Facebook posts and pictures may see of, hey, this is just what they're doing. The stuff that they learn goes way deeper than any of the actual activities will ever show.
Yeah, some skills that maybe adults still need to develop. Maybe parents, hey, you have trouble with that? Maybe you can get your kiddo involved and they can help you out.
But again, thank you so much, Mason.
Absolutely.
This was a pleasure.
It was a blast. Thank you.
I always enjoy getting to sit down and talk to people about what's going on, and even just kind of sharing the program and
Your experiences. I mean,
And we're looking forward to sharing it out there as much as we can through the podcast and letting people kind of hear a different take on it.
And if, like I said, if something piques somebody's interest out of this, or they have a question or want to get more information, they can, of course, always go to the Grant County Extension Office website and find my contact information. We have our 4-H Facebook page is Grant County KY 4-H. Follow the Facebook page. Also, make sure you fill out an enrollment form for your kids if they're interested, or if it's something you think would be good for them. So all of that information can be found on the website, or just send me an email, give the office a phone call. The office phone number is 859-824-3355. So if you call the office wanting 4-H information, more than likely I'll be the one you get to talk to. So I'm always here for any questions, ideas, anything that anybody wants to try and any information anybody wants, I will gladly pass that along.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
thank you, Mason. Thanks. And that wraps up today's episode of We Are Grant County with Mason from the University of Kentucky 4-H Extension Office. From agriculture to leadership, from STEM to service, it's clear that 4-H is cultivating much more than projects. It's cultivating the heart of our future. If you'd like to learn more or get involved with your local 4-H club, visit the website on our show notes or reach out to the Grant County Extension Office. Thank you for listening and supporting local storytelling through We Are Grant County, where we share the stories, celebrate the people, and connect the community that makes this county great.
ToadTalkMedia.com